welcome to another episode of Get Out of Rap. Today, I want to take you inside the team leader community to talk about the origin story, what it is and who's it for, some of the milestones that we've gone through, talk about team leaders in a wider sense and why I believe they're the most critical function in our contact centers for delivering excellent customer service and customer experience. I'll share how you can get involved um, and really talk to you about what is a passion project for me and always has been, really. I think many of you have heard me talk about the Magic Weekend. Like a lot of people listening, I started in our industry as an agent. And once I found my feet, I thought, I'd love to be a team leader. I was lucky that I had both good and bad team leaders. I say lucky to have bad because I thought, I think I could do this better than them. And the good ones just supported me and helped me get to a point where I was ready to apply to become a team leader. So I did. We had a structured interview, and I got told on the Friday that I'd got the job, which was great news. Uh, and then they said, "You are starting on Monday," and this is where the magic weekend happened, because of course, what happens? You go home, and over the weekend when you're sleeping, magical elves come and bestow upon you the gifts of leadership. So on Monday, you are fully armed and prepared for the reality of being a team leader. Of course, that doesn't happen. And it meant on Monday, full of gusto and enthusiasm, I took over my new team. Back then, and this was some time ago, there was no concept of training team leaders. You were just expected to have picked it up through observation and seeing what your own team leader did. So there I was with my new team. I'm an outgoing leader, gregarious, quite loud. I like playing games. Your typical kind of high fives and throwing a ball around, and that was the energy that I brought to this team. And my team had been cobbled together from the waifs and strays other team leaders didn't want. We had a couple of new starters, and thankfully we had some very experienced team members. I initially fell flat on my face. The reason being is I thought I was managing a team of 15 miniature versions of me. Not that miniature, because as many of you have met me will know, I'm not the tallest person in the world. I don't mean in height. I just mean how they showed up at work and what they wanted. They did half of the team responded really well to my style, my the way I communicated and motivated and coached. The other half, I alienated them instantly. I'm pretty sure some of them really disliked me. I could see their eyes rolling, or they would sigh when I would start a team huddle. The mistake I'd made is I hadn't taken the time to get to know them as individuals, so that how they communicated, what they were motivated by, how they liked to be praised, how they liked just interactions to go, what they wanted coaching on, what they were struggling on, and just as importantly, who they were as people, what their interests were, what their outside life was like. I had to do the work, and critically, I had to amend my approach. And at that time, it was hard to talk to my peers. I was kind of new. I didn't want to necessarily show that I didn't know what I was doing. And most importantly, because they were very helpful people, but most importantly, we were all too busy to take any time for me to be constantly saying, "How do you do this? I've got this challenge." Because the thing I don't think anyone prepares you for is you become your team member's psychologist, parent, teacher, in some cases, police. You get hit with lots of things that are nothing to do with the work that you're actually doing. And very, very quickly, I found myself being overwhelmed. And that period of time has stuck with me and stuck with me throughout my career. Even as I progressed all the way through to a director and a senior leader, I always thought there has to be something that we can do for team leaders. Even as a senior leader, I always orientated towards the team leaders I was responsible for. Um, I would never cut out the head of contact center or contact center managers. I would involve them, but I just felt most comfortable with team leaders. And I always thought there has to be a way that rather than um, training, and training was great, but we couldn't do it very often. It might have been a day or 2 days. It was never more than that. It had a great impact. And there's some great trainers out there. I'm certainly not poo-pooing them. But I always thought that would just be great if there was somewhere where I could go and semi-anonymously, or even just anonymously, or just show up as myself and share both tips, but also challenges, and also pick up micro learning and games and things to keep everything fresh. So late in 2022, I started looking into the concept of online communities. I managed to cobble together a test group of guinea pigs. You know who you are, and I will be forever grateful. And I basically took these guinea pigs across three platforms until I found the platform I really liked. This podcast had gone from strength to strength. We're now in our sixth year, I think. Yes, it's 2019 this podcast started. And I thought, even though I'm approaching 50, this is now or never. I had no investment, I had no savings. My wife thought I was having a midlife crisis and said, "Why don't you just go out and buy a motorbike?" Because I said, what I want to do is leave a steady, enjoyable, well paid job with a stable company. And I want to go out on my own. I want to make the most of get out of rap. Um, and critically, I want to launch the first ever online team leader community. So this was a massive risk, especially when my lovely wife Bev asked me if she's in finance. She asked me if she could see a business plan, and I hadn't even written one. I just knew this could work. So on the fourth platform that I tested over 4 or 5 months, in February 2023, I launched the Team Leader community. It's an online platform which you can access on the web or via an app on your phone or your tablet. And within that, there's a function to chat to other members, but critically, there are 14, 15 spaces, many of which have changed over the years because a community isn't just me broadcasting, a community is built by the members of the community. So new spaces have been requested, others have been archived, but essentially, there are spaces we have a community notice board where we announce competitions, we welcome new members. I let people know of changes to the community. It's like the board in the center of your town. Very old school, I know. Maybe it's better to say you can find it on Facebook, but then we have the chat room. And as an example, this morning, for example, we were chatting about the weather, the weeks we had, what we've got coming up today, what we might want to share in the community. Um, and also, we're all still glowing from the team leader community arrived en masse at the next customer experience summit on Tuesday, which I'll talk about in a bit. So we have the chat room, which is generally that. Let's just get to know each other. Then we have ask questions here, and we've had some great questions. And again, sometimes people contact me because they want them posted anonymously, but more often than not, people just show up. And the last three we've had, for example, are I have someone who is ticking all the boxes from a QA point of view, but comes across as very robotic and monotone in how they talk to customers, gets okay customer satisfaction scores, but I think they can do so much better. How do I approach this? We've had the other one was how do I deal with a team member who struggles with managing their own anger and can get angry and it's affecting the rest of the group. Um, and the third one is, how do I manage my own energy? I seem to be giving all of my energy to motivating and supporting my team, and I'm worried about the impact that's having on me. Now, for all three of those questions, and that's just from the last week, I live in the community, so naturally I will give a view, and tips and things that help, and I think critically share that you're not alone when you have these challenges. We've all faced them. Um, and then, of course, the rest of the community come in and they give their tips and they offer support and reassurance that these are good questions to ask. We then have the coaching space, probably the busiest space. It's the thing that team leaders want to do the most, but often find it difficult. So within the coaching space, I must post in there every day a short tip, and that could be coaching someone that's new, coaching a high performer. What do you do when someone's not responding to your coaching? I've shared coaching methodologies in there and templates. Just even things as if your coaching session is going a bit flat or you can't seem to get through to someone, try these three sentences. The importance of listening. So, coaching is very, very busy. Then we have team leadership. Like, how do you build that esprit de corps? What are the things you can do to turn your team into a high performing team, engendering trust and cohesiveness? And again, loads and loads of posts in there. Then we have personal development. So, what can you do in amongst your busy, busy day as a team leader to look at your personal development, to think about how you can just get better or maybe progress? And we've had some wonderful success stories as a result of the community. We had one member who said, she came on and she said, I'm going for a new role. And during the interview process, they asked me for the next stage to produce a 30, 60, 90-day plan. I've never seen one before. I don't know what it is. Within minutes, she'd been given templates, advice, descriptions, previous examples, and it was a wonderful, wonderful moment when she came back a few weeks later and said, "Just to let everyone know, I've got the job. Thank you so much." And that is exactly what this community is for. It's to make people be the best versions of themselves. Uh, after personal development, we have a space for aspiring leaders. So when I think about the makeup of the community, 80% are in that team leader position, round about 80%. We have some senior leaders in there who just want to share and help others from a kind of informal mentoring point of view and sharing tips and advice. We have people from support functions, WFM, QA, training, IT. Every support function in a contact center has representation in the community, and we also have a chunk of aspiring leaders. So people who their companies have been very progressive and thought that they would benefit from preparation within the community for when they take that next step into being a team leader. And it's also a good space for team leaders. How do they identify talent within their team and then support them? So that's aspiring leaders. We have industry news and events because I think it's important that team leaders get a view of the amazing industry that they're in. We have games and incentives. So, as well as games and incentives within the community, thanks to the support from some lovely companies, we given away headsets, webcams, vouchers, books. We've given away a lot, and we try and do a competition every month. Naturally, I've given away a lot of Get Out of Rap merch. um, but the games and incentives section is really somewhere where you can go. There's at least one new game in there every week that you can play with your team, or how you might structure an incentive. That was something as a team leader, I was very keen to keep things fresh and try and make work fun. So there's loads of games, and a lot of them are focused on remote teams. When it comes to remote teams, we have a working from home space, which again came from a request from a member. Uh, So that content there is specifically if your teams are remote. And this is a new challenge, right? Since the pandemic, for those of us that were team leaders prior to that, we never had to manage teams that were working from home. And it's a whole new challenge. So this space is dedicated to helping team leaders not only address that, but thrive in that space. We have accessibility, diversity, and inclusion. So you can be a truly inclusive leader and be mindful and be your best self when it comes to managing people that identify in smaller groups and how you navigate that. Because let's remember, we're asking people to demonstrate an emotional intelligence skill set that is far exceeds their age in a lot of instances. So having a space dedicated to how we show up as an inclusive leader is really important, and the community is truly inclusive, and I'm very passionate about equality and having a space that is truly safe for everyone. I've always been very proud of our industry and how we are very diverse and inclusive, and that is demonstrated within the community. We have best practice resources and books. Any of the great publications out there, whether they are published every quarter or every year or just as a one-off, there is a library of those within the community. I'm very thankful that we'll often get books written about our industry sent and provided for the community. Um, there's some wonderful people out there that have done that, but that is somewhere that if people want a longer read, they can come in and just find it. We also have training courses, small videos, and there's more coming there. Things that, again, the whole purpose of this is on your commute or on your lunch break, you can dip into the community and make yourself slightly better. So we have training courses. Um, as well as training courses, we have live streams and podcasts. So I do a live stream at least once a week. Some of those are on themes. Everything is recorded because I appreciate that people cannot give up a lot of their time to come onto a live stream, but people do, and when they do, it's great. So they're very interactive. It's a way of us getting to know each other, and we have talked about everything. They're all recorded, so people can access previous ones if they want to know how to deal with poor behavior, have a difficult conversation, um, high performance management, everything you can think of, QA, WFM, they're all there. We also have masterclasses, and some of you listening have been good enough to give up your time to come into the community and share your expertise. And those are very well received. We've done one of those a month since the community started. Uh, this community is truly unique. We were a first mover in the industry. It was very important to me to keep building on that and working on it. All of those spaces, there is content populated in them every single day, and it's the interactions that people have. We've achieved a lot since we launched in February 2023. Some of our original members, we met in person and we were talking about what it was like when there was three of us in there, four of us in there, five of us. As of this morning, we now have 610 members. Um, the community is made up of people from every industry that our contact center world represents. So it is a wonderfully active, engaging place where you can learn from people in completely different industries to you. We have members from, whilst it's predominantly the UK, we have members from Ireland, Australia, South Africa, India, the Philippines, Serbia, Bosnia, Germany, France. The content is written in English, but yeah, the milestone of getting past 600 was something special. When this was launched in February 2023, my aim was to create something that is helpful to team leaders every single day, and I think we're doing that. I also had the aim of I wanted to have over 1,000 members here, and then take it globally. I did protect my first mover status through trademarking not just the name and the logo, but the services we offer, and I'm very very proud of that. Um, there are more milestones to go, and maybe you can help. One of the things I did in that test group was talk about pricing. This community is for companies to purchase annual memberships for their team leaders and to give them the gift of continual development daily, every single day. We are developing better team leaders within the community, and we're making ourselves better as well. But the aim was always this is a B2B service. um, it's priced at 7.99 per month, but the majority of companies in them, we've got some amazing logos. The majority, near enough 90%, pay for their members, their team leaders, and others to join annually. And the pricing, though, when I spoke to our guinea pig group all the way back at the end of 2022, I said to them, the aim is your company buy this. I'm not sure on pricing. What do you think? And a few members said, what if our company don't buy it for us, but we'd want to get it ourselves personally? So that's why I used Netflix. I set it up at a Netflix price, 7.99 a month. What's that? A coffee and a Danish pastry, per month. And we do have members that pay for this personally. They are committed to their own development. And that I find that humbling, and it makes me very responsible to making sure that I'm giving them value, because it kind of means more that it's coming from them. The community with the numbers, if you looked at the amount of work I put in, is not yet at a place where it is a living wage for me. I love it. It is the thing I do more than anything. But we are getting close. We are getting close to a point where it's going to start paying for itself and a bit more. I'm not a greedy person. I'm not a materialistic person. I get my joy from helping others, and I believe that that's what this space has done. When you think about the bigger picture, often you will go to any conference and you will hear people say team leaders are the most important people in our industry, but yet they are not supported to the same extent that that statement suggests. There was an event I went to where 400 leaders had been asked about their priorities for next year, and there were 42 different things listed, and team leader development was not on there at all. And that goes to show, that we need to do more, and this community is part of it. I'm very pleased to see that by being the first to focus on this and to create something unique, that others have started to talk about it and offer more. Like I said at the outset, there's always been great training, and I know some wonderful trainers, and they do wonderful work. But in terms of an online community, or the sense of community and doing things for team leaders, it's good to see that there are more coming and out there. Um, I mentioned milestones, and the number is important, but we had a very very special moment on Tuesday at the Next Customer Experience Summit. I'm lucky enough to work with the great team behind that, of the Contact Center Expo team from Raw, and they were very keen to produce an agenda that had some wonderful experience, that are very professional and seasoned at talking, who always offer great insight, as well as new speakers. Naturally, of course, I went into the community and said who would be up for this. We had 5 people on the agenda who were talking for the very, very first time, 4 solo and 1 as part of a panel. And for all of those, we had prep sessions within the community prior to the event. We were supporting each other. And in total, there were 9 people in person there, from the team leader community. And you only need to look on LinkedIn to see how those people talking for the first time absolutely smashed it. They are doing the job, living and breathing customer experience in a contact center every single day. And they stood up with passion, with insight, with great knowledge, and each one of them smashed it out of the park. It was probably it sounded weird to say it, but I was so proud of them. Like a wizened old fool, because they were brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant. Now, if you're listening to this and you are responsible for team leaders, or you are adjacent to team leaders, or you have senior agents, aspiring team leaders, or you have people in QA that manage the QA team or the WFM team, maybe you're a contact center manager, or perhaps, as the majority of this audience is, you are a senior leader. Whether you want to get your teams involved or you would like to get involved yourself, it's very, very simple. In the time that I have been waffling on, you could have already joined and been flowing through the community, offering advice, learning something new, getting to know new people, expanding your network. The joining process is extremely simple. Um, Much to my wife and accountant's annoyance, I've never changed the price. I don't intend to. It's ridiculous value for money. If you do want to join, you can look on my website, martinteasdale.com. There is a team leader community specific website, or you can just drop me a message on LinkedIn or email me at martin@getoutofwrap. Um, I hope this has given you a little bit of a audio tour of what the community is and why it means so much to me. I risked my future and my family's future on this. I don't like saying that out loud too much. It's a little bit too scary. But the community is a wonderful, wonderful space. We've worked so hard on it since February 2023. There's always more to come. We have some amazing new developments coming, utilizing AI, but also listening to members who want more in person events, and the constant amendment of spaces and themes and topics. That is a daily thing. You know, there are daily requests for, can we do something on this subject? Can we do something on that subject? And I absolutely love it. I would love it if you were able to get involved. Even if you can't, we're always looking for support. Um, I am. We're still bootstrapping this, so we're always looking for support. We've had some lovely support from companies who want to help. That is through resources, but also providing gifts for competitions, because they understand that these new, often young, um, leaders are the backbone of our contact center industry. And if it weren't for them, we wouldn't be able to do anything. So if you do want to support, please just let me know. And of course, if you would want to join or get your team members into the community, then please do get in touch. Thank you all for listening to me wang on about my passion project. You will be pleased to know that we'll have some interesting guests coming up. I'm doing a few recordings next week, so we should be back to weekly episodes. But from me to you and your loved ones, much love, and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you very much.